Hello!
Hello!
Welcome back to our channel. Today we're going a bit over Genie Plus.
So if you watched our video last week, linked up there, we did mention... It's definitely that way.
Is it definitely that way?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We did mention that we could probably talk for about 30 minutes on Genie Plus.
So we're going to talk for 30 minutes about Genie Plus.
So we're going to try and be a bit quicker than 30 minutes. But this video is basically our experience with Genie Plus and some tips basically that when we were using it,
Yeah.
what we discovered and things. We didn't watch any videos or anything before going, so probably a bit rich making a video and for people who might want to watch it, isn't it?
Whatever. Let's go. Yeah, okay. We generally had a positive experience of Genie Plus anyway, but we'll get through to that.
Yeah. So I guess we should start with what is Genie Plus.
Yeah. So first up, fast passes are gone. They've been replaced with Lightning lanes, and the old fast pass lanes are now Lightning lanes.
Yeah. And for the most part, you can access Lightning lanes just by buying Genie Plus. There are a few exceptions where instead of the access to the Lightning lane being on Genie Plus, you buy access by buying an individual Lightning lane, which is a bit confusing, but essentially there's your two options for purchase: Genie Plus or like individual Lightning lane. So if you are purchasing an individual Lightning lane, you do not need to buy Genie Plus. Equally, if you're buying Genie Plus, there is no obligation for you to buy an individual Lightning lane.
Genie Plus at the time of recording is $15 per person per day.
Excluding sales tax.
Excluding sales tax. I always forget that bit.
Let me tell you how I did as well. Every day going, they've overcharged me. Oh wait, no, it's the sales tax.
And also there is no DVC or annual pass discounts for that.
No.
Apart from, in the UK, as part of the Magic Ticket, you can pick up Genie Plus for £6.99 per person per day, and that can be added on to your existing Magic Ticket.
So it is a slight discount. I think it's like
It's $5.
$5-ish.
Something like that after exchange rate, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a decent amount. The individual Lightning lanes cost between $7 and $11, again, excluding sales tax. But with the individual Lightning lanes, the prices vary, so it'll vary dependent on day of the week, how many people are in the park, how many people are actually purchasing the individual Lightning lane,
Yeah.
the actual season, if it's high season, low season. So there's a lot of variables with the individual Lightning lanes, whereas the Genie Plus, it's just the fixed price.
The fixed price for the day. So in total, we used Genie Plus for 3 days. We used it pretty much in every park apart from Animal Kingdom, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
And we also purchased individual Lightning lanes for Seven Dwarfs, Rise of the Resistance, and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
It's a hard one to say.
It's a hard one to get together, yeah.
As we were staying on site at Disney, at 7 AM we could look at what was available on Genie Plus or buy individual Lightning lanes for that day. If you're staying off-site, it goes off what time the park opens. So by staying on site, you've got the advantage of being able to book something for essentially as the park opens versus booking it at the park opening.
Yeah, so it gives you sort of a 3 or 4 hour advantage on people.
Depends on the park opening. So
Yeah.
it's like 2 hours.
Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, you get an advantage basically by staying on site. So I was the one who primarily did the actual purchasing. We didn't go out of our way to purchase. I literally was waking up at 6:30 in the morning and I'd buy it there and then at 7 AM we'd make our choices.
Yeah.
So I guess these are some tips that we found.
Yeah, so we've got 5-6 tips of things that we discovered.
Yeah, that just through using it that we think helped us make the most out of actually using Genie Plus.
Yeah. So the first one is always affecting me, as it seems, and make sure that your credit, debit card, or whatever you use can make US payments easily. We fought with the application trying to make a payment for Genie Plus first thing in the morning. As it turns out, we were using the wrong type of card, and we had to make sure that we could get the payment through, essentially.
Yeah, so the very first time I used my Starling debit card and it let me buy the Genie Plus at 6:30 AM. But 7 a.m. came round and it wouldn't let me buy individual Lightning lanes. It just kept rejecting the payment. And that's why in our vlog we say about user error. I thought because one payment had gone through it would quite happily. It didn't. But my Amex card never had a problem.
Yeah.
It's actually the cards that we could use at vending machines.
Yes.
Are the cards that worked perfectly with purchasing Genie Plus and Lightning lanes. So.
Yep. So
maybe...
I'd suggest TransferWise or Wise, or a credit card. I know it's bad to recommend a credit card, but like an Amex or even a Barclays Visa, and they're the ones that we didn't have any problems with whatsoever.
Yeah, a good test would be try and buy a drink from a vending machine the day before you want to use it, and if it works, then chances are it'll work happily.
It'll work through the app quite easily.
So the next tip, when you're setting up Genie Plus, and I will try and insert footage here of us doing it. Yeah, basically. Cover Andy. I'm fairly certain I did record when I was actually using Genie Plus in the parks, and if not, then see what I can do. But essentially, when you're setting up Genie Plus, it asks what your interests are, and it wants you to say like, oh, I want to ride all these rides and do all these meet the princesses and all this, and it wants all the information so it can make your perfect day. Except when you come to Genie Plus at 7 a.m, it includes the entire list of everything you've selected in alphabetical order. Now, if you're going for a ride that, say, Rise of the Resistance, alphabetically, that's quite low down.
Far.
Like, ours like the 18th letter of the alphabet, isn't it? So that's low down. So the way that we did it instead was we'd buy Genie Plus at 6:30ish, and when it was asking me like what my favourite thing was and what I wanted to do, I put the one ride that I wanted to get. So at Magic Kingdom I put Big Thunder Mountain and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and then at 7 a.m. went into the app and they were the only two things listed, so I could very quickly just go done, got them both. It also meant that they were the rides that we did the earliest in the day. So just think about what is your peak one, the one thing that you want to do in the park.
Most important ride or activity you want to do in the park, and select that.
And put that, and just put only that as your option. You can edit the selections after the fact to add more things in, or just do like we did, and where we just basically was letting it list all, because once you've used, you can only use the ride like Genie Plus once for Big Thunder Mountain. So once it was doing that, it wouldn't show us Big Thunder Mountain again, because it was like, well, I don't really care that that's your favourite thing and you want to see it. You're not allowed to purchase it again, so I'll just list everything.
Yeah.
So that's how we were able to very quickly get Big Thunder Mountain, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Rise of the Resistance all by 7:02 one morning.
Our third tip is, once you've got your Genie Plus selection and you're heading onto the ride, once you scan into the ride, after you hit the second scan point in the queue, you can actually start looking at booking your next Genie Plus Lightning lane. So in this one instance that we did with Big Thunder Mountain, after you scan the second time, there is actually a sizable amount of queue after that. So we were there checking for our next one straight away.
Yeah, so Genie Plus, you either have to, you make a selection, and then you can make your next selection either 2 hours from when you made that first selection, or from when you've used it. So we went to Big Thunder Mountain at, I think our Lightning lane was for 9:20, but the ride was actually down for a bit.
Yeah.
So they let us on at 10:10.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So it was technically outside of the window, but because of the ride breaking down, they were letting people through. So at 10:10, we scanned into the ride, started looking through, and we actually booked, I think, Pirates of the Caribbean for about 11:15. So it was only an hour later that we were then going to be doing another ride. So tip number 4 is, it's a bit of an odd one, of don't look for your favourite rides after you've done that one. Just look at the next available for the next time. Because with Genie Plus you can only do the ride in a park once per day. Once you've done it, it won't suggest that ride to you, and you'll start seeing people will go for some big ticket rides and then all try and get the same rides at the same time, and your times will be going up into the afternoon. But if you jump to some that are maybe less popular but are available sooner, by the time you've done them, the big ticket rides are available because people haven't been able to park up into the park yet, and all the availability from people trying to use it has gone because they've done their one ride.
Yeah.
That's what we found anyway. We basically used it as, rather than I want to do all of my favourite rides, I personally would rather do any ride than be queuing for 2 hours or waiting 2 hours for the next. So we just went, right, what's the next available ride? Okay, cool, we're doing Dumbo next. We're doing Pirates next. We literally just went, whatever is next, that is what we're doing, not necessarily.
It is so tempting when you look at that list and see, oh, there's a Lightning Lane available in 3 hours time to go on a ride I really want to go on to. But what are you going to do? Are you not going to make use of Genie Plus and sit around for 3 hours waiting for that to come available? Or would you rather go for a less popular ride that's coming up in 15 minutes and make use of Genie Plus to its max, essentially? It really depends on how people want to go about their day, and I'm sure there'll be people who would disagree with us that you should only go for the big ticket items. But if you really want to maximise the usage of Genie Plus and the money that you've spent on it, then going for the next available ride is a lot better option in my opinion.
Definitely.
And then number 5, you have to remember that this is not limited to a individual park. So once you've gone to Magic Kingdom, used a few Lightning Lanes with Genie Plus, and gone and done all the rides that you want to do in the park, you can think, can park up over to Hollywood Studios and maybe get some swirling saucers in the evening. You can do that, and I think a lot of people forget that you are allowed to park hop with Genie Plus.
Yeah, so the way that we did it for looking at park hopping was, we actually, when you go to the tip board, you can change the park, and we would change the park and look at what was available on Lightning Lane and use that to determine which park we go to.
Yeah.
So if we could get a test track fast pass, then we'd be going, right, well, we're going to Epcot then, because we've been able to get that test track Lightning Lane. I realise I just called it a fast pass. But I mean, I think once per video.
Yeah, that's fair. It's fair.
But yeah, we basically used that to determine where we were park hopping to.
Yeah.
If you do book something with Genie Plus, just remember that if the park does reach capacity, it doesn't matter that you've got a Genie Plus booking. The park's at capacity. So.
And likewise, like the old fast pass system, if the ride is down and dead and can't be is not restarting anytime soon, they'll actually give you multiple use old style fast pass usage tickets that have no particular return time. So
the only rides that they can't be used on, there's some that essentially they'll give you a Lightning Lane that you can use on any ride except Seven Dwarfs, Slinky Dog, Rise of the Resistance.
The expected popular rides, essentially.
When we booked our Rise of the Resistance individual Lightning Lane, I did it at 7 AM knowing that we were going to Magic Kingdom. Basically just had to hope that Hollywood Studios didn't reach capacity when park hopping became available. But from that morning, because it could see that I had a reservation at Magic Kingdom, it knew I'd booked Genie Plus and an individual Lightning Lane at Magic Kingdom. The earliest time it gave me for Rise of the Resistance was after the park hopping hours. So straight away, I knew that it would be like after 2 o'clock that it was showing me the times for. As it turned out, it was like 6 o'clock because obviously I'd done the Magic Kingdom ones first, but it did default to be after the park hopping time started. Yeah,
so you're not going to be in a situation where you've got a park reservation in one place and then you can't get there. You booked a Lightning Lane for somewhere else, essentially, and you can't get there.
Yeah, the only time would be if the park reaches capacity.
Our last thing to note as well is that if you can't find anything on Genie Plus and you're struggling to find a Lightning Lane, that the standby line times are not as bad as the makeout. So I actually think they are more accurate now since the introduction of Genie Plus than they were with the old Fast Pass system.
Yeah, they're a worst case scenario timing. I know there's a whole heap of people who were like, Disney are artificially inflating the wait times to make you buy Genie Plus, but I honestly do not think that's the case. I think they know how many people they can get through the ride in an hour because they know what the capacity of a ride is. They also know how many people have a Genie Plus selection for that time period. If 100 people have selected a ride between 10 and 11 and at 10:30 none of them have turned up, Disney have to basically account for the fact that 100 people could be about to turn up, and they know that it'll take 30 minutes to get that 100 people through the ride due to the ride capacity. If that's the case, then they need to basically say what the time is on an assumption of all these people turning up.
Yeah.
If you joined a queue and it went suddenly from you've joined at 30 minutes but then an hour later you're still stood there, everyone would be kicking off. So they tell you what the worst case scenario is of an hour. The problem is people don't cancel the lightning lanes or they get delayed.
So it looks bad on the front with an hour wait time, but for all you know, it could be 40 minutes, it could be half an hour. I like to think, like you said, those times are worst case scenario now. When we visited in 2020 and had fast passes, you would join a standby queue and then it may be a lot longer. Yeah. Whereas every single standby queue we joined this time seemed to be at least less than the time that was posted, which is good. Better in my opinion. Yeah, at least you know what you're getting into.
Exactly. Anyway. I'd much rather go in knowing that I've got to stand in the line for an hour than, oh, I'm joining a 10-minute queue and then an hour later be stood there going like, what is going on?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think it's an artificial inflation. I think it's a trying to best serve by telling you the worst case.
Yeah.
But they are basically some bits of tips. I guess the ultimate question is, do you think Genie Plus and individual lightning lanes are worth it?
Yes, I actually think they added to our holiday. We had a bit of a false start on the first day, but this is why we're doing this tips video, because it's the sort of the some knowledge of what we learned while we were over there. So I think it's worth the money. The individual lightning lanes, they're a bit pricey. I think they could be good with being a little cheaper, but unfortunately, Bob knows I'm going to pay for Rise. He knows, so...
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm sure I've said it before, everyone's favourite price is free.
Yeah.
But free isn't an option. Well, I mean, it is if you want a queue. So, but for us, I feel like the amount of money that we were spending was worth the time that we were saving in standing in queues, and I feel like we got our money's worth.
I think this is very much a travel thing as well. I can imagine a lot of Americans who don't have to travel too far to the parks are thinking that is a lot of money to spend, but British families who are travelling in a group going for a 2-week holiday and trying to make the most of it, $6.99 a day to add on to their magic ticket could give them an even better holiday. I mean, the same opinion could be given for us with going to Disneyland Paris, that yes, you can pay for Fast Pass, Premier Access as it's called now in Disneyland Paris. We've done it, but I don't think we'll continue doing it.
Yeah, it comes down to sort of
your situation.
Yeah, your situation and how much your time is worth.
Yeah,
that's how
how much you can stand up with queuing.
Yeah, high flat feet, not long. But yeah, in Disneyland Paris, that's how we worked it out. Basically saying the queue time was an hour. What is an hour monetary value to us?
I think that's a good way of thinking about it as well. What is an hour of your time worth to you if you're on holiday?
For me, it's worth the Genie Plus.
It's worth the Genie Plus. So I think that's pretty much it. If anyone's got any questions, feel free to throw them into the comments and we'll try and answer them as best as we can.
Yeah, and I know it is a controversial topic, and I know we're probably in the minority in saying that we like Genie Plus and we like Lightning Lane.
Yeah.
I guess your mileage will vary.
Your mileage may vary. Middle of the screen.
But yeah, that is today's video. And I don't think we were half an hour.
No. Ooh, close.
Ooh.
We'll see after edit.
Yeah, post editing we might be.
So thank you for watching this video. If you've liked it, give it a thumbs up.
Pew pew.
And if you dislike it, give it a thumbs down. Give us that nice algorithm interactions that we want.
We just don't want you to be Magnolia. Like it, dislike it.
Like it or hate it, we don't mind.
Yeah, you've got to have an opinion.
Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. We've got stuff coming up soon, so...
Well, the next video after this is a giveaway, so I mean you might as well hit subscribe and stick around to see what you could win.
Exactly. And hit the notification bell and be one of the glorious 60 people.
I am not one of the glorious 60 that gets the notifications despite having the bell on.
YouTube, what are you doing? And in short, do the YouTube stuff.
Do the YouTube stuff.
And we'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.